I watched this one video today that kind of brought up this thought, the big contradiction. And this is where you can find truth, is in contradictions. I started noticing contradictions from the time I was 3 years old. And that is kind of how I was guided towards, what really is going on, what's the truth. And I did an awful lot of research, uh, trying to get to the bottom and find some answers, and read an awful lot of books, read an awful lot of theories, lots of concepts, lots of sciences, and they all have a contradiction in them. But if you take away all of the contradictions, you see a completely different picture. And one of the contradictions that are kind of humorous to look at is, doesn't the government suggest um, that we be responsible citizens, pay our bills, it, you know, be responsible and accountable, yet government is not responsible and accountable, and they don't pay their bills. They always run at a deficit. They want us not to claim bankruptcy, yet our countries are going into bankruptcy. Our corporations, I mean, if you get behind on your bills and you get a bill collector phoning you, one of them was, I lost my car, and due to a cause, events that happened within our society. I can't handle society. I can't change the system. I can only go down the path the system pushes me in. When you're guided down that reality, anyways, got to a point where I missed a few payments on my car loan, which many times that's happened. I've lost, missed a couple of payments, but always made up the payment. But, when I kind of totally broke down, missed a few payments, tried to make arrangements to pay what I owed back, they took the car away. And ironically, the company couldn't pay their bills and they needed a bailout. But when I couldn't pay my bills, I didn't get a bailout. I didn't get help out. Nobody was there, they're there taking away my shit, but nobody took away their shit. And do you ever notice the ones that are giving out the best advice are not the ones that are following their own advice? Don't buy credit, don't, but yet they sell everything on credit. You can't do anything without credit, but yet they always say don't use credit, pay cash for everything. A lot of people don't even accept cash. So, the other one is, we try to teach our kids not to fight, that peace, communicate, work your problems out. But as soon as you get to be an adult, as soon as you get to be a corporation, as soon as you get to be a government, it's all about war and fighting everything out. It's not about negotiating or working any problems out. It's about the fight. And yet somehow we think our kids are supposed to listen to our words and say, peace, communicate, and yet us as adults don't know how to show them how it's done. As soon as we become adults, we become criminals. As soon as we work for a corporation, we're either going to be a slave to that, so we teach our kids how to be a slave, or you're going to be the corporation, the slave master, so you're going to teach your kids how to be a slave master. You're not going to pay your bills as soon as you're a corporation. That's the time you don't be responsible or accountable. So then you're going to teach your kids how to not be responsible and accountable. Your government won't want to solve any problems. It'll go to war because it's more profitable. There's a corporation that'll make a lot of money if we go to war. So then you teach your kids that, hey, it's not about peace, it's about war. So um, that's one thing that I find really, really humorous, especially, landing on a welfare system. Those that are educated, those that have the most brilliant minds on this planet, have the greatest advice to give me, but not one of them follow their own advice, which leads me to, I was more pushed on this system than it was my choice. I doing this whole channel, this website, every single message that I got to give means no, I allowed them to push me in this situation. I allowed them by living by their rules. I listened to what they said and thought that they were people of their word. And I trusted all of the wrong people and didn't trust in myself. And that's where I find is the answer to everything is trust in yourself and not in other people. And start to learn who you are and whose rules you're listening to. While somebody's telling you to be peaceful, they're out there still in your backyard. It's not like the answer is war. The answer is peace. Just don't go to war. Play the game that they want played. Take responsibility. Make your own choices. You can, as long as you're peaceful and loving and doing no harm to other people, then they don't even affect your life. Whatever this other old system wants, they only catch you. Well, sorry, but yeah, if you're of color, you could be driving a car and get stopped even though you own that car. So, yeah, you could be doing everything right and somebody will stop you. But the thing is you know how to play within their system, and you know how to be invisible and how to be visible in their eyes. It's your choice in you playing in their game. It doesn't mean that you can't, have a free world. It means that free world needs to be created. And that gets created by us, society, learning who we are, how we want to treat other people. Chances are, the only reason that you're being stopped because you're of a certain color driving a certain car is because there's a police officer that was told to act that way. Again, it's these contradictions. Don't be listening to them. Don't be playing in their game. Discover who it is you want to be. Start developing a system that's not the same as that old system, and get some friends to join you. That's kind of the deal, is if there's more of us working on something different, then you start to see how big your group is and how big that group is. And right now, we can be stuck in the hopeless, helpless, it's all doom and gloom, or we can see this is a lot of opportunity for change. A lot more people want change. 50 years ago, they were starving in Africa and they wanted change. Nobody was listening up. Nobody wanted change. Now that it's starting to hit us globally, it's just time for us to wake up and join forces and find a different way of being more responsible, accountable, with no contradictions. Let's say what we mean and mean what we say. We either want a world that's full of peace or we want a world full of war. And if you're engaging in war with anybody, then you are engaging in a world that you want, which is war. And that could be a war with your neighbor, that could be a war with your family, in your community, could be protesting. Um, any aspect of fighting is not the way to go. You will not solve anything. Um, but everything starts by you. In order for us to learn how to communicate effectively, we need to be our own cures. We need to know what road is our own and which roads that we think is our own, because most of us are brainwashed into believing other people's shit. And So it is a process of, in order to create that other road, you do have to know what your shit is and what their shit is and distinguish the difference. Um, but really look at the contradictions, that some of those that are the biggest and the brightest and the biggest bank accounts, they don't know shit because they are all part of the game that doesn't work. They all have great advice. Their great advice is like worth shit that they can't even follow themselves. I always look at, if you got advice, let show me how to do it. Show me how it is working for you before you offer me the advice, because I follow by example. And that's kind of what my channel is all about. It's more of a diary to say, here's where I'm at, here's where I want to go, this is the process that I'm in. I may be screwing up, I may fail, but at least I'm doing something. And right now, that's our call to action, is we all need to be doing something. Biggest thing you can ever do is look at the contradictions. See if the advice you give other people you actually follow. See if the advice somebody else is giving you they actually follow. Then you'll find truth right there. Peace out.